Jasper, I know you told me not to bother you when you're working, but I'm running out of options. I understand you're busy, so I boiled down my list of concerns into simple yes-no questions. Just respond yes or no. Did you read Goodfellow's letter? The chopping block. Security talked to you about some type of corporate spy in our ranks. Is there a spy? Did you know Padilla's heart gave out after 72-hour shift? Are you attending the wake? Got the staff coming into the reception desk looking for answers. What am I supposed to tell them? It's not the best choice. The only choice we've got. You're going to respond. N. Respectfully, Jasper. Found a key in a locker in laboratories. The key belongs to Dr. Lowe. Please retrieve the key and return it to him. I'd do it myself, but Dr. Lowe can be pretty paranoid. If I show up at him with the key in hand, he'll assume I stole it in order to fabricate a reason to check up on him. Okay.
And here I was, hoping we'd have the place to ourselves. That's gotta be our pal from the OCI, right? I'm starting to wonder what they're hiding.
Go. I guess we'll go down to... Well, do I need that? I'll just take this, actually. Oh! Got the big gun.
System. Sweep.
That's it. Alright. Smashed it. What was that? Alright. Run diagnostics. Research data. Open last entry. You may be concerned. This morning, I and my colleagues gathered in the reception hall. Every 10th staff member at this laboratory was released from service. I'm one of them. My indenturement contract to Spacer Choice, which stipulates a lifetime of productive service as a researcher in this field of organic chemistry, has been terminated. I have served Spacer Choice for most of my life. Working at the Gorgon facility is the highlight of my career. If I leave Gorgon, I will have nowhere else to go. Because my contract guaranteed my work for the duration of my life, to end that contract is tantamount to ending my life. You have the power to reconsider your decision. I ask you kindly to reconsider. I am willing to work without pay if necessary. Job is all I have. Please allow me to fortify my spirit by continuing to work. That is sad. A sad, sad man. afraid I don't know your research where your new research. Blah, blah, blah. Let's try that again. I'm afraid I don't know where your research notes are. I searched materials processing and discreetly asked the receptionist, but nothing turned up. If I had to guess, you left them in the basement laboratory. I'd venture down there myself, but you know how I feel about primos. I apologize for the weakness of my constitution. Sir, if your research notes do turn up in the basement, may I ask you to think favorably upon me when OCI asks for your budget review? Word around the lab is that Goodfellow and the other leaders at the OCI want to make some deep cuts in your staff. If there's any truth to this rumor, I hope you'll remember that I've always supported your desire to find a better, safer version of AT. Alright. We got on this one. We wrote a lot. Can we please? Okay, Dr. Lowe. I think I speak for all my colleagues in this laboratory when I say I'm worried about OCI's treatment of our facilities. I can understand dismissing 10% of our staff as a punitive measure. I can understand cutting our deadlines in half in order to motivate us. But, and forgive me, Dr. Lowe, I can't understand demanding that we send human inquiry our untested compounds. Many of these compounds are tested because we know they're failures. Increasing production means proportionately decreasing qualities of enrichment, which means lower compatibility in with human metabolism, which means higher rate and intensity of dangers and potentially lethal side effects. Compound X is a highly complicated formula harvested from the waste of xenocytes. It's complicated because, unlike over 50% of Spacer's Choice nutritional catalog, the compound was not designed for human consumption. The good people at OCI understand the complexity of this compound we're dealing with. There's a chance they'll give us some time and resource we need. We just need to get them to understand. This is the problem of miscommunication, Jasper. So let me go up there and give them a presentation. I'll use markers and everything. What do you think? Can we do this? Dr. Pahlavi. The OCI are compromised by a gaggle of carrion feeders. You go up there with your markers and your charts and your diagrams, and they'll chew your flesh right off the bone, and then charge me for the meal. It's absolutely critical that I finish my research in peace and as soon as possible without interference from OCI. In that answer to your question, no, we haven't can't. Personal files. T. Meadows. Tim Meadows, huh? Today we received our updated timetable from management, courtesy of Mr. Goodfellow. 6-week deadline is now 3-week deadlines. Some of my colleagues have been sacrificing sleep in order to meet these deadlines. Others have been medicating themselves with very small doses of enriching compound X in order to combat the fatigue. Work fortifies the spirits, so we carry on. I count myself fortunate to have been spared in the decimation. My former colleagues have nowhere to go. Their departure corresponds with a few critical doses of enriched compound X disappearing from our storage. Correlation does not imply causation, so I will not imply theft. I'm concerned by the side effects of Compound X. Even if its refined state, repeated use damages the synaptic patterns of the brain. Paranoia, violence, psychosis, and intense anxiety will haunt a repeated user for the rest of their short lives. Our enriched process does not combat the side effects of Compound X. We are close to a breakthrough, but the damage to our research terminals is irreversible. My hope is that Human Inquiry see the side effects of the compound in their own tests and may report these tests to Creative Incubation. Incubation is as chilled by these results as I am. It may provide more time and more resources. Yeah, I think they had a writer. E. Gothier. Motive of silence for my recent batch of enriched compound X. The elegant complexity of your molecular structure manifested in a hallucination of my own sleep-deprived mind. 30% lower rate of addiction, 75% compatible with the human metabolism, and with a side effect coefficient of just 0.65. You are the most promising compound yet. Human Inquiry would have been delighted to pour you into a syringe and stick you inside a test subject. You were destroyed in an unplanned sabotage event, which to say is that Mr. Mostly Fancy Tables couldn't predict this would happen. You're almost perfect. Our lab will never see the likes of you again. Compound X is notoriously difficult to enrich. Its molecular structure is fussy. In small doses, the compound provides a small boost of energy and productivity. The clever buggers at OCI do not seem to understand the principles and have asked us to increase the dosage with every batch. High dosage compound X is even harder to enrich, and a poorly enriched, poverty-stricken, none of the protective layers that inhibit dangerous side effects. So what we have is a cocktail of very bad side effects chased down with one of a massive rush of euphoric energy. Pleasant, but incredibly dangerous. I can only hope HIA's reports agree with my assessment. Alright. Anything else over here I missed? Leaves. Nope.
Roscoe, it's Georgie. If you're hearing this, you must still be holed up at the Scratch Shack. And you're not gonna like this one bit. I was trying to steal our recordings when things went crazy. I know. Like I said, sorry. And I'm gonna be in a heap of trouble if I don't get them, so if you want to save my bacon, you need to do it for me. I need the 3 interviews we did with Ambrose, this one here, plus another recording of my own. I left that last one with a guy who owed me a favor at the garbage processing office in the chemical waste ravine. I'll leave an automech near Stellar Freighting. It'll want all 5 recordings, plus a passphrase. Glacial Age. Oh, and don't listen to my log, all right? Just stay safe and keep your head down.
From the GPO in the ravine. Look at that in a second.
Whether you're in a fancy lab or an old rust bucket, one thing's for sure. No one sees the common area.
Another garbage. All right. We brought flies over to this asteroid.
Great work.
We're done with this bit then. Get closer. Let me see. There's some stuff on the ground. Can we get it? Go check the ground. Oh, crap. Hello. Saw stuff down here. Oh. Traps? Alright, I think pretty much got everything. Let's head back, hopefully we can get past that. Duck under it.
Okay.
Save it, see if we can duck under. Worked. Sure, I'll click override. Worked out for me. All right. Nothing. It's kind of cheap that I can just shoot through stuff and they can't get me. Yeah, so I gotta go through this way, huh? Critical update. Dear sir or madam, this is an automated message triggered by the Space Destroyer's Contingency Management Program. Please do not respond to this message. Congratulations, contingency number 77-1. Abundance of raw material is now in effect. Due to a higher than projected volume of Compound X harvested in the laboratory, your production quota has been raised by 200%. Please bear in mind that bi-weekly quota reviews are automatically generated and forwarded to Project Gorgon Administration and Office of Creative Incubation. Any dereliction of in production will be reflected in your review. Experimental notes. Exposure to Compound X to N-ray concentrate for 30 seconds. Consulted research notes. Notes incomplete, damaged. Expose Compound X sample to N-ray concentrate for 60 seconds. Sample failed. Toxicity levels too high. Expose Compound X sample for attempt. Number 90. Woke up. Fell asleep at table. Samples failed. Overexposure to lab atmosphere. Toxicity levels high. Exposed. Research addendum. Unplanned sabotage has destroyed any relevant research notes. Forced to rely on outdated notes. Expected time lost 6 to 16 months. Attempt to replicate research unsuccessful. I'll try again. Resting my eyes for so it's over this way. Need to go. Different room. Nothing here. Don't see any other way out of here. I can't open this. I can't hack it. Or lockpick. Alright. We gotta go down that way, I guess. Primals are taking everything out. Get nothing new. Nothing I want.
Primals, too. They wanted to make sure they made all the bad decisions, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Can't get through there. Corrosive, don't run through it, stupid. Corrosive really tears me up, so I gotta avoid it. Boy's looking. Look around. I see something. Continue.
Someone else will clean this up, right?
There's more, huh? That I got him. What's wrong? Where did you? Oh, I can't see. I have parts and everything else, so I want to loot them. Alright, so here's the elevator. Hopefully get me an easy way or up. I hear something. Way out? What if I unlock it? Alright, so there's something breathing heavy up ahead.
I wonder, this is where Lowe was with his mind.
Survived. You're remarkably intent on settling my every plan to end you. How inconsiderate. Especially after I've gone to so much effort to see Gorgon rest in peace.
Yeah.
It's a good thing then that I finally figured out what you're after. I'll see you soon, little weasel.
Is it just me, or does it seem like our mysterious nemesis watches too many Aetherwave serials?
Well, I'm glad. I've been looking forward to punching this sprat fuck in the throat.
I hear something like heavy breathing like a primal. No idea. Where's it at, though? Alright, admin function. Override synthesis and manufacturing center lockdown. Okay. Turn to RIP messages. Incoming. Pursuant of last week's incident, new security practices are now in effect. All lab personnel must tidy their workstations at the end of the shift, close and lock all drawers, safes, closets, vents, and lab doors before leaving for the day. All visitors must be accompanied. Furthermore, any laboratory tech accompanying a guest who has not received certification in either self-defense or hand-to-hand combat must also be accompanied by a member of a security team. All confidential information must remain as such. Do not discuss the nature of your work outside or inside the lab, except to warn peers of imminent danger, such as fire, chemical spills, or suspected corporate espionage. All laboratory techs are to isolate themselves until further notice. Any laboratory tech found fraternizing in groups of 2 or more, or found speaking with the same person more than once, will be reprimanded in Spacer's Choice Human Resource Re-education and Reallocation Department. Finally, unless you're actually physically sitting in an interview session pre-approved by me, do not speak to the effing journalists. Okay. Key concerns. Jasper, I dug into volunteer data Marion sent over. You were right. Current formulation is resulting in alarming outcomes, even by SC standards. Priantha and I performed a handful of autopsies this week's deceased and made a few notable observations. In one case, that of a young man in his early 20s, we noted a degree of gray matter loss one would expect to see in a man of 70. His brain also had atrophied to a shocking extent, again, as one might expect in a much older man. In another case, that of a woman in middle age, the subject was no longer able to achieve natural sleep. After 11 consecutive days of wakefulness, she was no longer able to distinguish her violent hallucinations from reality. And even as she spiraled, she demanded additional injections. I was sure our last tweak would reduce the incidence of violence among the volunteer population. We might attempt to further redefine the compound through partitioning though I'm doubtful that it was not efficacious. Violent aside, growing increasingly concerned by the habit-forming nature of the compound. What do you think? The material we work with are dangerous and will result in permanent injury, disfigurement, or madness, and handled for extended periods. Therefore, all laboratory personnel will report to project physician Dr. Priantha LeBlanc for a monthly physical and psychiatric evaluations. I do this out of abundance of caution. Schedule your first appointment immediately and notify me when you do. I have access to your medical records, so I will know when you shirk. Do not make me drag you to the office myself.
I dare say it seems like the inmates were running the asylum here.
I've seen some reckless operations, but here, it's like they were trying to get people killed.
What about what I expect from Spacer Choice operation?
Sloppy work, poor management, and a questionable odor? I'll say. Still, Spacer's Choice spent a fortune on this place. Filled it with the best and brightest lab coats they could find, and this is what they came up with?
You said it. This is Spacer's Choice best and brightest we're talking about.
Same folks who make the worst guns owned by the most hull-headed mercs in the system. At least they're consistent.
Minnie thinks her family has a bad name now. It's nothing compared to how it will be if she compounds on her mother's failures.
As long as she should. Let's get to the journal before we jump to conclusions. Fantastic. Alright, so we start putting our points into